She called my husband too feminine, so I publicly exposed how he pays all her bills. When my sister Ashley said she was coming to Austin with her boys just for a few days, I should have known it wouldn't be simple. Ashley has never done anything without turning it into a spectacle. She arrives with chaos, like a one-woman tornado of passive aggression and condescension. And this time, she came with luggage, a car full of toys, and a chip on her shoulder bigger than Texas. My husband Marcus and I had just settled into a good rhythm with our daughter, Ellie. She's 5, precocious, obsessed with drawing dragons, and thinks Marcus is some kind of wizard because of the way he can turn a blank screen into an entire world. He's a digital illustrator and runs a gaming YouTube channel. Yes, that's a real job. And a very profitable one, I might add. Ashley doesn't get it. Never has. She thinks Marcus is soft. She's said it before, usually in a fake joking voice that's not even trying to hide the judgment underneath. So when she stepped into our kitchen and saw Marcus flipping pancakes in his apron while Ellie sat on the counter, watching him like he was a superhero, I saw her smirk before she even said a word. Still doing the house husband thing, huh? She said, loudly. Marcus didn't miss a beat. Still raising 2 kids without a job, he replied with a smile. Boom. I nearly dropped my coffee. Her jaw actually twitched. The thing is, Marcus isn't just witty, he's got a kind of calm confidence that drives Ashley nuts. He doesn't rise to her bait. And that makes her even more determined to provoke him. She walked into the living room like she owned the place, her 2 boys, Jake and Max, trailing behind her, already arguing over an iPad. They're good kids, but Ashley's parenting style is a mix of screen time and sarcasm, and she treats praise like a rare mineral. Before we go further, don't forget to like this story, hit subscribe, and tap the bell so you don't miss what happens next. Later that evening, my parents showed up, Susan and Robert. The peacemakers who act like every family gathering is a UN summit, and it's their job to prevent war. And Linda came, too. And that's when the judgment parade really got rolling. We were all seated at dinner, passing around plates of food, making small talk, when Ashley dropped the bomb. Must be nice having a husband who stays home and plays video games for a living, she said. She wasn't looking at me. She was staring directly at Marcus. The table went quiet. Even Ellie stopped chewing. Marcus didn't flinch. Must be nice having a sister who still thinks it's 1955. My dad tried to chuckle and change the subject, but the mood was already cracked. Ashley smiled sweetly and turned to Aunt Linda. I'm just saying, it's a little feminine, isn't it? I mean, my ex used to build things. He could fix a car, rewire a house. Your ex also moved to Arizona and forgot your kids existed. I snapped. Ashley blinked like I'd slapped her. That's low, she said. You want to talk low? I leaned in. You come into my home, insult my husband in front of my kid, and you think I'm just going to let it slide? Marcus gently touched my hand. Let it go, he said quietly. But I wasn't letting it go. Ashley always pulls this crap. And for years, I stayed silent. Because she was the struggling single mom, the one we were all supposed to tiptoe around. But not anymore. Marcus pays the mortgage, the utilities, the groceries, all of it, I said. Meanwhile, you're living rent-free in mom's old house and asking our parents to cover karate lessons. Ashley flushed. That's none of your business. It became my business the moment you started disrespecting mine. The table went dead silent. Even the boys looked up from their screens. And then Ashley said it. I just think it's emasculating. That's all. Marcus smiled, leaned back, and said, and yet here you are, living off other people's money, talking down to the guy who built his own business from nothing. Remind me, who's emasculated again? That was it. Aunt Linda muttered something about wine. My mom fumbled with the salad tongs. My dad coughed like he was dying. Ashley stood up, said she needed air, and walked outside. I just stared at Marcus. Too much. I whispered. He grinned. Nah, just enough. And that was only day 1. If day 1 was a slap in the face, day 2 was a gut punch. I should have seen it coming. Ashley's the type to hold onto a grudge like it's a family heirloom. She doesn't lash out immediately. She plots, she waits, and then she delivers her blow right when you're starting to breathe easy. We were having another family dinner, this time at my parents' house. Just a simple Friday night thing. Barbecue, paper plates, kids running barefoot in the yard. Normal, peaceful, the kind of thing I always imagined for Ellie. Ashley was quiet for most of the evening. That should have been my first red flag. When she's silent, it means she's loading the cannon. At one point, she sat next to my mom on the porch, all sweet and sappy, flipping through photos on her phone. Then she accidentally airdropped a picture to the living room TV, the one that syncs with any phone connected to the Wi-Fi. 1 second, we were watching a movie preview with the kids. The next, A blown-up photo from 8 years ago popped up on the screen. Me, in a cheap club dress, drunk, eyes red, arms slung around my ex, Zach, aka the biggest mistake of my early 20s. And yes, this was during that time in my life. The spiral, the breakdown, the months I don't like to talk about. There were gasps, laughter from her boys, awkward shifting from my parents. I felt my face go hot. What the hell, Ashley? I snapped, grabbing the remote. Oh no, she said with a fake gasp. I must have sent the wrong file. Marcus stood up. Turn it off. Now. I did. But the damage was done. She had waited until this moment, when my in-laws were visiting, when my parents were hosting, when Marcus's sister and her husband were in the room, to remind everyone who I used to be. The party girl. The burnout. The hot mess with bad taste in men and worse taste in friends. I didn't say anything right away. I just sat there, my ears ringing, Ellie asleep in my lap. It wasn't until later, when the dishes were being cleared and people had started to go home, that I cornered her in the kitchen. You really couldn't help yourself, I said. She turned, smug. You shouldn't be ashamed of your past, right? That's what you always say. Digging up an old photo of me blackout drunk and putting it on the family TV is not some noble statement on self-acceptance. She shrugged. People deserve to know the whole story. You act like you're this perfect wife and mom now. Maybe it's time someone reminded them who you were. I stared at her. You mean before I pulled myself out of hell? Before I got clean? Got therapy? Started building a real life? She didn't answer. Is that what this is? I asked. You mad that I got better? She laughed, but there was no joy in it. You're not better. You're just better off. Big difference. Marcus walked in then. He'd heard enough. If you hate her so much, he said, why are you even here? Ashley turned to him slowly. Oh, please. Don't act like you're some paragon of virtue. You make videos for teenage boys and play pretend with a tablet. Forgive me for not being impressed. Marcus didn't raise his voice. Didn't flinch. He just said, and yet I've never once felt the need to humiliate someone else just to feel taller. Ashley's jaw clenched. I thought she might swing. Instead, she picked up her purse and said, you two are exhausting. Then she left. The house was quiet after that. I sat on the edge of my old bed, the same one I used to cry myself to sleep in after Zach cheated on me the second time, and I tried not to fall apart. Marcus sat next to me. She's jealous, he said softly. Of what? That you found your way out. Here's the thing no one tells you about family. They don't always want what's best for you. Sometimes they want you to stay broken, because it makes them feel better about never trying to fix themselves. Ashley didn't care about that photo. She cared that I had become something she hadn't. Stable, loved, healing, and that made her furious. You'd think after Ashley hijacked family movie night to air out my darkest chapter like it was a funny little slideshow, she might have backed off. But no, Ashley doesn't back off, she digs in. Because in her mind, she's the underdog. And anything good in your life is probably a cheat code. By Saturday, we were all pretending to play nice. Ashley had taken the boys to the community pool in the morning, came back with a fake tan and a real attitude. She acted like nothing had happened. Like she hadn't broadcast a picture of me half-conscious in a bar dress in front of my child. Marcus and I stayed civil. We cooked dinner. We smiled for my parents. We even laughed at one of her boys' knock-knock jokes. But beneath that smile, I was seething. And Marcus? He was quiet. Too quiet. The final blow came at dinner. Again. Always at dinner. We were all seated at the long table on the patio, everyone eating burgers and passing around coleslaw. Ellie sat next to Marcus, doodling in her sketch pad, babbling about dragons. That's when Ashley, seemingly out of nowhere, said, So, does Marcus still do all the cooking? Marcus looked up, eyebrow raised. Yeah, I said cautiously. He enjoys it. He's good at it. Ashley sipped her drink. Right. And he's home with Ellie most days, too? Yeah, I nodded. That's part of our schedule. I work mornings. He works nights. It's a balance. Ashley smirked and turned to my dad. Can you imagine, Dad? You staying home while Mom ran the show? My father, trying to keep the peace, just said, different generation, Ash. But still, she pressed. I mean, how's that even attractive? The table went quiet. Ashley kept going. Like, what do you even talk about? Video games? Art supplies? Do you guys even, have a real marriage? My heart dropped. Marcus slowly put down his fork. You want to run that back? He asked. Ashley smiled like she was holding all the cards. I just think it's strange. You act like everything's so equal and perfect, but it looks more like a roommate arrangement. He stays home, you work, you split the chores. Where's the romance? The masculinity? The spark? She looked at me like she was doing me a favor. No offense, but it looks like a joke from where I'm sitting. And that's when Marcus, the calm one, the patient one, the guy who'd swallowed every snide comment all week, finally stood up. Literally. He stood, gently moved Ellie's plate out of the way, then leaned forward with his palms on the table and looked Ashley dead in the eye. "Let me explain something to you," he said, his voice low. "I love my wife. I respect my wife. I take care of this home. I care for our daughter. I provide, not just financially, but emotionally, mentally, and physically. And you have no idea what it takes to do that, because you've never stayed long enough in one place to try." Ashley blinked. "You think love is about some caveman cooking steaks and fixing gutters?" He continued. "Newsflash, your ex had those traits, and he still walked out on you. You want to know what makes a marriage last? Showing up. Every day. Without ego. Without excuses." He looked around the table. "Anyone else got something to say about my masculinity?" Silence. Marcus sat back down and picked up his fork again. Ashley looked stunned. So was everyone else. Later that night, after everyone went home, my mom knocked on our door. She looked embarrassed. "I'm sorry," she said. "I didn't realize how much she was needling you too." "She's not going to stop," I said flatly. My mom nodded. "We talked to her after dinner. She's hurt, but that doesn't excuse what she said." "She's jealous," I whispered. "She's flailing," Mom replied. "And when people flail, they grab whatever's around them, even if it's the people trying to help." After Mom left, I sat on the couch next to Marcus. Ellie was asleep upstairs. The house was finally quiet. "You okay?" I asked. He nodded. "I'm not going to let her do that again." "You were amazing," I said. "I've never seen you that angry." He exhaled. "It's not the insult that got to me. It's the fact that she said it in front of your dad. Your mom. Our kid. She wanted them to doubt us," I said. "She wanted you to doubt me." And there it was. The root of it all. Ashley didn't just resent our happiness, she wanted to shake it, test it, prove it was fake. Because if we were broken too, she didn't have to feel so alone in her own mess. Let me ask you this. Have you ever had someone insult your partner, not because they did anything wrong, but because they were too kind, too modern, too different? What did you do? Did you speak up? Or let them poke holes in your happiness? Because Ashley isn't done yet. She's about to make a very public scene, and what she says in front of Marcus's entire family is going to blow everything up. You ready? Because there's no coming back. I used to think family dinners were awkward. Now I miss those days like they were golden. Because nothing, and I mean nothing, prepares you for watching your sister try to destroy your marriage in front of your in-laws. Let me backtrack. Marcus's parents, James and Darlene, had invited everyone to a casual Sunday dinner at their house. It was meant to be a peace offering, a way to reset after the drama Ashley had stirred up all week. Ashley, somehow, accepted the invite. And because we were still clinging to this hope that maybe she could be civil, that maybe she'd gotten the message, we didn't protest. That was our first mistake. The dinner started fine. The table was beautiful, the food was amazing, Darlene's roast is basically famous, and Ellie was being an angel. Marcus's sister Leah and her husband were there, along with some family friends. It felt festive, like maybe we were actually going to have a normal night. Ashley was charming. Too charming. Laughing too loud. Complimenting Darlene's decor. Making small talk with everyone like she hadn't accused Marcus of being a glorified babysitter less than 48 hours ago. I was skeptical. Marcus was tense. But we played along. Until dessert. That's when Ashley decided to nuke the entire evening. We were all seated around the living room, eating pie, sipping coffee. Ellie had fallen asleep on Marcus's lap. Darlene was sharing a story about Marcus's childhood, something about how he used to draw cartoons of their dog and sell them to neighbors for quarters. Everyone laughed. Then Ashley, with the fakest smile I've ever seen, said, "It's so sweet that Marcus gets to indulge his hobbies full-time. Most guys don't have that luxury." The room shifted. James raised an eyebrow. Leah tilted her head. Marcus said nothing. Ashley went on. "Back when I was married," she continued, "Zach barely had time to breathe between work and being home. But I guess it's different when your partner handles the adult stuff." I felt my heart rate spike. Darlene, bless her, tried to change the subject. "So, Emily, are you still doing freelance work? That project you mentioned sounded exciting." Ashley cut in again. "Freelance," she laughed. "Oh, come on. She's the breadwinner. We all know it." Dead silence. She kept going. "Marcus gets to make his little videos, draw elves, and hang out with their daughter all day. Meanwhile, Em's out here doing the real work. It's just a bit unbalanced, no?" Marcus gently shifted Ellie, stood up, and handed her to me without saying a word. Then he turned to the room. "Let me clarify something." Oh no. He wasn't yelling. He wasn't even raising his voice. But every word hit like a gavel. I own a media company. I manage 3 YouTube channels, freelance for 2 gaming publications, and handle contracts for animation clients in and out of Texas. We cleared 6 figures last year. I'm not playing pretend. I'm running a business. Ashley blinked, caught off guard. And yes, he continued, I spend time with my daughter. Because I want to. Because being a father is not a punishment, and being present for your child isn't a weakness. He turned to everyone else. I know Ashley thinks masculinity means being emotionally distant and too busy to engage with your kids. That's her trauma, not mine. Then he looked back at her. But what I won't accept is you using your bitterness as an excuse to disrespect my family, especially not in someone else's home. Leah clapped. Literally clapped. Ashley flushed red. Wow, she said with a bitter laugh. You're really good at speeches. Maybe you should go into politics. No, Marcus said calmly. I just know how to say what I mean, without cutting someone else down in the process. Darlene stood up. Ashley, I think it's time to call it a night. Ashley turned to me. You're just going to sit there? I've been sitting here all week, I said. You've insulted my husband, trashed our marriage, weaponized my past, and turned every meal into a therapy session none of us signed up for. Yeah, I'm done sitting. Ashley's voice cracked. So what? I'm the villain now. I didn't answer, because I didn't need to. Everyone saw what she'd done. Even she knew. She grabbed her purse and stormed out. The room stayed silent for a long time. Then James said, well, that was something. Later that night, Marcus and I sat on our porch in silence, watching the stars, listening to Ellie's soft breathing on the baby monitor between us. She's not coming back from that, I said. She shouldn't, Marcus replied. But she might try. I thought Ashley was done after that last dinner. I really did. After Marcus called her out in front of our entire extended family, calmly, directly, and with receipts, I thought maybe, finally, she'd back off. Maybe she'd even take a hint and go home early. But instead, she tripled down. Because Ashley doesn't walk away. She detonates. It started subtly. Whispers. Questions. My cousin Jenna texted me 2 days later. Hey, is everything okay with you and Marcus? Just checking in. Then my aunt called. I heard Marcus might be struggling to adjust. What? Then my dad pulled me aside during lunch and said, Sweetheart, if there's anything going on between you two, you can talk to us. I laughed. Because it was so absurd. Until it wasn't. Until I realized Ashley had been planting seeds. Quietly. Strategically. I confronted her. I pulled her aside the morning before she was set to leave and said, What are you telling people? She blinked. Played dumb. What do you mean? Don't. What do you mean me? People are asking if Marcus and I are okay. Asking if he's unstable. She gave me that same fake sympathy look she's been using since high school. I just said you two seem tense. That maybe he's overwhelmed. Honestly, it's not a big deal. Not a big deal? You've been implying my husband is mentally unwell, I said. And saying it to people who barely know us. I never said he was unwell, she shrugged. I said he seemed off. Withdrawn. Tense. People can draw their own conclusions. I saw red. You're a coward. She raised an eyebrow. Excuse me. You can't take what you dish out. You come into my home, attack my marriage, insult my husband's career, and then when people finally stand up to you, you start playing puppet master in the background. Her tone shifted. I'm not the one pretending everything's perfect when it's clearly not. There's nothing to pretend, I said. We are okay. We're just tired of your BS. Ashley folded her arms. You're mad at me for noticing what everyone else is too polite to say. No. I'm mad because you're lying. And she was. Not just distorting, lying. Making things up about Marcus. Suggesting he was neglecting Ellie. That he was moody and paranoid. One relative even told me Ashley said Marcus had snapped at Ellie for drawing on the wall, something that literally never happened. She was rewriting reality. And some people were starting to believe it. It all came to a head at Sunday brunch, our last family gathering before Ashley's flight. My parents. Marcus's family. Ashley. The kids. One big awkward buffet of strained smiles and undercooked eggs. I walked in with Marcus, arm in arm. He looked good. Confident. Collected. We weren't going to let her see a single crack. But she didn't need a crack. She brought a sledgehammer. Midway through brunch, she turned to Marcus and said, loud enough for the whole table to hear, So, are you going to tell them? He looked confused. Tell them what? She tilted her head. About the panic attack. About yelling at Ellie. About the way you told Emily you weren't sure you could do this anymore. The table fell silent. Marcus blinked. What? She looked at me. Didn't you say that? After the Ring camera thing? That he shut down for days and you had to call your mom because you were scared to leave him alone. I stared at her. She was mixing stories, twisting bits of truth with total fiction. Marcus had gone quiet after the Lauren incident. He had shut down for a day or two. He'd been scared, protective, but he never said he wanted to leave. Never screamed. Never broke. He was healing. And Ashley was taking that vulnerability and weaponizing it. My mom put her fork down. Is that true? No, I said firmly. None of that happened. Ashley smiled softly, like she was being gracious. I just think if someone's struggling mentally, it's okay to talk about it. Silence doesn't help anyone. You're not helping, Marcus said quietly. Ashley turned to him. You're a man who draws for a living, who spends most of his day with a 5-year-old, who avoids confrontation and hides behind a screen. You think that's strength? And that's when Marcus, sweet, thoughtful, usually unshakable Marcus, stood up. He didn't yell. He didn't shake. He just looked at her and said, "You are the saddest person I've ever met." Then he walked out. I followed him, left our plates, our coats, our apologies. We drove home in silence. When we got inside, Marcus sat down on the couch and put his head in his hands. And then, for the first time since we met, he cried. Not sobbing, not dramatic, just quiet, heartbroken tears. She's trying to make me the guy she wants to believe I am, he whispered, because she can't stand that I'm not him. I sat beside him and held his hand. You don't have to prove anything to anyone, I said. Least of all her. I didn't expect it to end like this. After everything, the jabs, the lies, the manipulation, I thought it would end with some dramatic confrontation between me and Ashley. Some final blowout where we screamed, cried, and slammed doors. But that's not how it happened. It ended in the living room, with a 9-year-old boy holding the mirror up to his own mother and showing her exactly who she'd become. Ashley was set to leave that Monday. She was flying out in the afternoon, so she came by our place that morning under the guise of saying goodbye. I let her in because, honestly, I wanted it over. I wanted to be able to say, we didn't slam the door, that we tried to end it maturely. Marcus wasn't home. He'd gone for a walk with Ellie. I think he needed to breathe without her shadow looming. Ashley came in alone, but not really. Her older son, Jake, followed her in, trailing behind with slumped shoulders and headphones dangling around his neck. I offered her coffee. She declined. She stood in the kitchen and said, "Look, I didn't mean to upset anyone. I was just trying to be honest. If you and Marcus can't handle that," I cut her off. "No, you weren't trying to be honest. You were trying to hurt us. You wanted other people to doubt him, to doubt me." Ashley looked tired. Not sorry, tired. She rubbed her forehead. "I just think people should know what's really going on. What kind of example he's setting." And that's when Jake, her own son, spoke up from the living room. "What kind of example are you setting?" Ashley turned, startled. "Excuse me." Jake stood there, arms crossed. "You lie to people, Mom. All the time. You told Aunt Linda that Marcus yells at Ellie. That's not true. You told Grandma that you caught him having a breakdown in the garage. That never happened." Ashley blinked. "Jake, no. I'm tired of it. You always do this. You pick someone and tear them apart, and then you act like you didn't mean to." His voice cracked. "You did this to Uncle Brian. You did it to my dad. And now you're doing it to them." Ashley's mouth opened. No sound came out. Jake kept going. "You say you're protecting people, but all you're doing is making everyone scared of you. That's not love. That's just mean." He turned to me, eyes wide, almost trembling. "I'm sorry for what she said. I know Marcus is a good dad. I know he's not what she says he is." I just stood there, stunned. Because for all the speeches I'd prepared, all the comebacks and clapbacks and truths I'd been storing up, none of them hit like this. Ashley looked like she'd been punched in the chest. She opened her mouth again, but Jake was already walking to the door. "I'll wait outside," he said. "I don't want to hear any more of this." And he left. Ashley sat down. She didn't cry. She didn't scream. She just slumped. "I don't know when I became like this," she whispered. I didn't say anything, because what was there to say? She knew. "I think I hate myself," she said. "Every time I see you and Marcus, I just feel like I failed. Like I had something good and lost it, and now all I can do is ruin everyone else's." It was the most honest thing she'd said in years. And maybe 5 years ago, I would have reached out. Maybe I would have told her it was okay. But not now. Not after all this. "I don't hate you, Ashley," I said. "But I can't protect you anymore. And I won't let you poison what we have just because you're hurting." She nodded. Slow. Hollow. And then she stood up, grabbed her keys, and walked out. No hug. No apology. Just silence. Marcus came home 15 minutes later. I told him what happened. What Jake said. He just sat down, looked at the floor, and said, "Good for him." 2 days later, I got a letter in the mail. No return address. But I knew it was from her. Inside was a note. I don't expect forgiveness, but I'm going to therapy. I promised Jake I'd try. I hope someday I'll be someone you and Marcus could stand to see again. There was no signature, just the words, I'm sorry. I showed it to Marcus. He read it once, then folded it and placed it in the back of a drawer. Let's see what she does, he said. Not what she says. It's been 6 months. Ashley stayed quiet. She hasn't posted online. She hasn't messaged us. No more whispers from the family. No passive-aggressive texts. She's gone still. Jake writes me sometimes. Sweet kid. Says they're going to family therapy now. That things are less crazy. He even drew a picture of Ellie holding a dragon, just like the ones Marcus draws. We framed it. So now we're breathing again. Marcus's YouTube channel is doing better than ever. I started my own freelance studio. Ellie's in kindergarten. She's happy. She's thriving. And we're still here. Together. Standing on the other side of a storm we didn't ask for. And we're stronger than ever. Let me ask you. Have you ever had to walk away from someone you love just to save yourself? Have you ever had someone try to rewrite your truth because they couldn't face their own? What did you do? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear your story. And if you made it through this kind of family betrayal, you're not alone. You're stronger than you think.